The holidays are supposed to be a time of joy and family, but for so many of us, they're the hardest part of the year. They are a constant, painful reminder of the family we thought we had and the child or children who is no longer in our lives. If you are grieving a child who is still alive, I just want you to know you are not alone in this incredibly unique and isolating journey. I'm not a therapist or a psychologist. I'm a mother, and this is my story. I raised my children with everything I had. I worked long hours, sometimes nights and weekends, just so there would always be a roof over our heads, food on the table, clothes on backs, and special holidays and memories to have. I really thought that love looked like sacrifice. I thought if I poured everything into them, if I made every Christmas magical and every birthday celebration, that our bond would be unbreakable. But today, when I reach for them, the house is just quiet. The phone doesn't ring. And in a story, I still struggle to understand I have been cast as the villain. If you're watching this and you feel that same silence in your life, I see you. You are not alone. And it's not all in your head. This is a real and devastating kind of loss, and it's far more common than you think. In fact, research by Dr. Carl Pillomo at Cornell University found that over a quarter of Americans are estranged from a close relative. That translates to more than 67 million people. A huge number of those are parents just like us. For years, I believed being a good mother meant putting my children first, even when I was running on empty. I ignored my own needs, my own exhaustion, my own mental health, because their needs always felt more urgent. I had little help, but was determined. I stitched together what I hoped would become traditions, bought the presents they wanted. I showed up the only way I knew how, working, sacrificing for them. Did I make mistakes? Absolutely. Hindsight is always 20/20, but in my defense, I didn't have a manual to refer to. Then as my children became adults, something started to shift. It was subtle at first. Invitations to get together just stopped. The phone calls became shorter, more strained. Criticism and blame became more prevalent. Then the holidays and celebrations were met with silence. The first year was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. The pain echoed in every corner of my house, in every unlit candle, in the empty chairs at the dinner table. I spent months, years even, replaying every moment, every argument, every decision, wondering where I went wrong. The shame and guilt were all consuming. What did I do? What did I miss? It's a rabbit hole that can swallow you whole. What I've learned is that the reasons for estrangement are deeply complex. Research shows that adult children might cite things like emotional pain, different expectations about family roles, or a clash of values. Sometimes it's about their own mental health journey and creating distance as a tool for their survival. It can be tied to a traumatic family event, a divorce, and often it may have very little to do with what we as parents actually remember happening. Our reality and their reality can be completely different stories. And that's the heart of it, isn't it? This unique and bewildering kind of pain. It's called ambiguous loss. It's a grief for someone who is still physically here, but emotionally and relationally gone. There are no sympathy cards for this. There's no funeral, no casserole brigade from the neighbours, no societal ritual that gives you permission to mourn. You're left to navigate this profound loss in silence, often feeling judged and totally isolated. You don't just lose your child or children, you lose the grandchildren, the shared memories, the future you dreamed of. It's like a living bereavement, and it's time we started talking about it. Through this hellscape, I've had to find ways to keep from drowning, especially when the holidays and annual celebrations roll around and try to pull me under. I've found mental anchors to help me cope. They don't make the pain disappear, but they hold me steady in the storm. My first anchor is giving my grief a name and a place. It's the most powerful thing you can do, and that is acknowledge what this is. Call it by its name. Ambiguous loss. This isn't you being dramatic. This is a recognized, incredibly difficult psychological experience. A loss without clear closure. Naming it helps validate that your pain is real. You have to give yourself radical permission to grieve. You are mourning a loss as real and as deep as a death. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be devastated. You're allowed to feel confused and lost. For so long, I felt I had to put on a brave face, to pretend I was fine. But repression is a pressure cooker. The only way through the pain is to let yourself feel it. Find a space for that grief. Maybe it's a journal where you write all the unsent letters. Maybe it's a quiet chair in your house where you let yourself cry for 10 minutes every morning. Maybe it's a support group, online or in person, where you can speak your thoughts without judgment. Creating a container for your grief stops it from spilling into every single part of your life. You are giving it the respect it deserves without letting it consume you. My second anchor is to create a holiday survival plan. Holidays are the absolute hardest. The world is screaming family and joy while your heart is breaking. The answer isn't to just suck it up. The answer is to be strategic and fiercely protective of your own well-being. First, set boundaries. You will get those well-meaning but painful questions from relatives and friends. Have you heard from them? It's okay to have a prepared response. Something calm and firm like, "Thank you for asking, but that's not something I'm able to talk about right now. It's already a painful subject." You don't owe anyone an explanation. Second, reevaluate your traditions. If the old traditions are just too painful, give yourself permission to create new ones. Maybe instead of a big family dinner, you go to a movie. Maybe volunteer at a soup kitchen or shelter. Maybe you book a trip and get away from it all. The goal is to not sit and stare at the empty spaces. It's about infusing the day with a different kind of meaning, one that you control. And finally, plan your day. The worst feeling is waking up on Christmas morning with a huge empty day stretching out before you. Plan it out, hour by hour if you have to. A walk in the morning, coffee with a friend, a movie in the afternoon, a favourite meal in the evening. It gives you structure and purpose, and it's a powerful way to take back control from the sadness. Remember, this isn't about pretending you're not sad. It's about surviving the day without letting sadness win. And the third anchor is to reinvest in the life that is still yours. For a long time, my identity was completely wrapped up in being a mother. When that role was ripped away, I felt like I was nothing. The most crucial shift in my healing came when I realized I had to separate my role from my soul. I am still a person. I still have a life to live. This isn't about giving up on your child or children. It's about choosing to live fully in the present moment, the only thing you truly have control over. You cannot control if or when they will return, but you can control what you do tomorrow. So, where do you start? Start small. Reconnect with old friends. Pick a hobby you let go of when the kids were little. Join a book club, a hiking group, a pottery class. Fill your new life with new people, new experiences, and new sources of joy. This isn't a distraction. It's a reconstruction. You are rebuilding your identity beyond that of a parent, and especially beyond an estranged parent. Seeking professional help can be transformative. A therapist who understands family estrangement can give you a safe space to process the shame and help you rebuild your sense of self. They can also give you tools to manage the chronic stress that comes with this kind of unresolved grief. I want to be clear. Reinvesting in yourself is not a betrayal of your love for your child or children. It's the ultimate act of self-preservation. It is the declaration that your life has value, with or without their presence. And paradoxically, when you start to rebuild a life that you love, a life that is full and meaningful on its own, you become a healthier, more whole person. That is the person who is best equipped to handle reconciliation, should that day ever come. This journey is one of the most isolating experiences a person can go through, but you don't have to walk it alone. The comment section below is a space for us to share, listen, and to remind each other that we are not invisible. If you feel comfortable, please share one small thing that has helped you get through a tough day. Your story could be the lifeline someone else needs to hold on to. And if this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing. I will be sharing more of my journey and the things I am learning along the way. We can get through this together. I want to leave you with a fragile but important piece of hope. Reconciliation is possible. Some studies have shown that many families do find their way back to each other. though the relationship is often different. One study even found that a high percentage of estranged adult children eventually connected with their mothers. But hope cannot be a prison. Your healing cannot depend on an outcome you can't control. Your life, your happiness, your peace, they matter right now, today. You can grieve, heal, and build a beautiful, full life that doesn't depend on them coming back. I am still a mother, even if I am not the one they talk to today. My love for my children hasn't vanished. It has simply changed form. It now coexists with the love I am learning to have for myself. You did the best you could with what you had and what you knew at the time. You are allowed to grieve this profound loss, and you deserve care, dignity, and compassion as you learn to live with the pain. Be kind to yourself. You've earned it. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next 50 and unfiltered video.